Greetings, folks. Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Channel Otherdoc once more. I am Jim. I use he/him pronouns, and this is our short campaign of Urban Shadows, Lex Talionis, an urban fantasy game that's powered by the apocalypse and set in modern-day Rome, Italy. Let me go ahead and make sure I did the thing with the audio that I should have done before we started, but of course did not because many things happened to my audio, so let's test this. Let me fix that because it did not do the thing that it should have done. Professionalism! Alright, now let's do that. Now let's do that again. There we are. Welcome. We've been having all manner of little technical things and light medical things cropping up on my end just prior to this. So, but we're here now. Hello, hi, how are you? Let us go ahead and go around and do our intros to see who folks are and who they are playing. We shall start once again with Katy. Hello.
Hi, I'm Katy. I'll be playing Serena St. John, the hallowed social influencer cult leader, or not. We don't know yet. We'll see. We both use she/her pronouns, and I'm super hype.
Yay! Well, cult of personality is still a cult. And now let us say hello to Shauna. Hello.
Hey, I'm Shauna. I'm playing Mallory, she/her, both she/her, and I'm using the playbook Tainted, where Mallory sold her soul to the devil in a probably bad deal, and is exhausted and a disaster.
That's fair. That tends to happen when you do that. So yeah, it happens. Now let us head over to Alyssa. Hello.
Hello, I'm Alyssa. I am playing Manny, the Fae. Both of us use she/her pronouns, and I'm a little sad because I forgot to buy bread before this, so I don't have any fancy bread, but I am very happy for this game.
I was, I understand the sentiment. There were like moments beforehand when, well, I'll get to that in a second. There's a thing, and I realized it links to another thing, so I'll do that thing in a moment. But first, let us say hello to Sara. Hello.
Hello, I am Sara. I use she, they pronouns. I am playing Kai, who uses they, them. Kai is the Oracle who not having a great time of life lately. They aren't sleeping super well, and some weird stuff has happened recently for them. They are a little confused, but still have their sense of fashion and 400 decks of tarot cards. So
it's important. It's very important. Excellent. As is tradition, I was going to I was before all the pre-production madness started. I was going to like dig up a quote of Dante or something to throw in here, but perhaps in future thingies. It's always an adventure getting these things launched. But I will read out for this episode as we are beginning our story here. Just a little reminder of the agenda of Urban Shadows, which is to make the city feel political and dark, keep the characters' lives out of control and evolving, and play to find out what happens. And that's a good thing because I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. I have a few bullet points of things that could possibly happen, but we'll see. If the city is lucky, they won't, but we'll see. In the meantime, we're going to crank things up here. As we begin this, we have a couple of playbooks, I believe, that have opening moves. Do they not?
I think I do.
I know the Oracle does. I think the Hallowed might also, if I remember correctly.
The Oracle says foretellings at the beginning of the session. I get to roll with Spirit. I don't really know why I would do this particular move.
Why you do it at the beginning?
It says at the beginning of the session, roll with Spirit on a 10 plus, hold 2, 7 to 9, hold 1, and then I can spend my hold to declare that something terrible is about to happen, and then we can avoid it.
Yes. It's a bit of it could conceivably be a bit of a double-edged sword. But,
basically, you can if something bad is if you're in a fight, you can say say Manny's in a fight with you. You can say Manny's about to die if you roll a 3, or if you have to hold. You say Manny's about to die. You roll to prevent that. You get a +1 to prevent that happening. Cool. So you're just rolling for the hold that you have for the whole session.
Yes. Cool. So yeah, basically, go ahead and if you would roll with Spirit and. We'll get that in.
And I don't think I have a move. I just have a debt. 1 debt against my flock.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right. Let's see.
Also, I think I
How do I roll just... How do I roll just the stat on this sheet?
Okay, so down the left-hand side, you should have under your stats. You've got it, you can roll. It gives you the names of different moves, but we know what it is. So Spirit, so you could roll it out. Sure, why not? And we'll go with that. You got a 10. Excellent. So that means you get the you get to hold 2. Mm-hmm. So during the session, you can spend that to basically make your declaration and cool. And get +1 ongoing to avoid it. Which ongoing is awesome because it just until the situation you've just defined is ended. Then that continues. Okay, yes, and staring over here. Yeah. I guess it was. I guess the thing I was thinking of was just the thing that you do with your flock at the beginning, where you're just.
I'm going to assume since it's the first session that I was available to perform my religious duties, and then we can just go from there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, I only get it if I'm available to perform my religious duties. But so if I don't do it the next session, then you can say I don't get the debt. But I'm just going to assume I did it this first time.
I feel like this actually gives us an excellent starting point. Because I was going to just go around and ask what people are doing anyway, and we can jump ahead after this. But what do your religious duties look like? Tell us what we would see.
It's waking up early and but at 7 a.m. on the dot every morning and starting an Instagram live, from my freshly washed white fluffy bed sheets, starting just good morning, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful night of sleep. I know that I did. It's wonderful to see you all. And then just reading comments for a little while as they come in and comment. Yeah, and
stuff that keep popping
up. Exactly, yeah. And then it's following her day as her morning, at least, as she goes and gets ready. And it's making a smoothie bowl and all of this over the top shit that she's doing that is such an act. That is her morning, and that's her that is her performing for her fans and for her flock. And when she's done with her lie, which is basically her sitting at the table or the bar or whatever, finishing up her smoothie bowl, which she doesn't actually eat. She picks at it.
Oh my god.
This is the best character I've ever played. She posts a picture of beautiful morning sunset or sunrise that doesn't have her in it. It's just got this the brand of the smoothie bowl, so she's like hyping up the brand, it's like in the foreground of the picture with the sunrise in the background. And then she immediately heats up old pizza and eats that for her real breakfast.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Which I think I'm already violating one of my tenants, because one of my tenants is lying. So I already have to mark a corruption.
Excellent. I think that as you're preparing this, that you're going to there are a few other influencers in the house, as we recall, in this villa over on the east side, and one of them who is actually just kind of coming through town, sort of buzzing through town. She spends a lot of time in a lot of different areas. She travels a fair amount as she's doing these things. Her name is Iliad. I can't say the name that I freaking create. Hello, my name is Jim, and I am in an eternal struggle with my vocabulary. Ileana Contos. She does a lot of she has a lot of gigs, sort of sponsorships from tourism type things. You're going to see her kind of wander into the kitchen. And before I even do this, but before I even go into this detail at all, when we see this opening, which I feel like if this were like the opening of a film, we would sort of see it from the perspective of the camera, kind of as one does in films of this time, where it's like it's showing everything that they're seeing on Instagram or what have you. What do you look like? What does Serena look like? What do we see?
Yeah, Serena has Serena is very thin, average height around 5'5", tan skin, either from laying out or self-tanning, she'll never tell. And she's got blue eyes and short chin-length hair cut into a very stark straight bob that usually she'll either straighten it or she'll wave it like beach waves, and it's pink and purple ombre. Like she has like this whole look and aesthetic going that's very very tie-dye hippie bohemian chic kind of thing. And like right now she's wearing a long like a pair of long linen pants and just a white tank top. She looks very chill. She's just that's just who Serena is. Like she's probably even she has plans to go out, I imagine, and just walk the streets through the market. So she's probably got a hat sitting on the counter beside her and a big bag. But yeah, she's just very her clothes look like anyone could own them, but if you looked at the tags, they're very expensive clothes.
Excellent. Ileana is as she's sort of sees you're preparing to kind of head out as she's coming in. She is she actually has this sort of thing that she does where she is she doesn't seem very put together, but it's kind of, in a way, it's you can tell that might be a little bit of an act as well. Although she seems very sweet, and that's kind of a lot of her brand that she does. She's very much she does all these videos where she does these sort of little funny ways where she messes up with things and talking to people, that kind of thing. She seems a little bit smoother when she's not actually on the camera, though. It's very much like her, though, so it might be just a slight amplification more than anything else. She is so she has short black curly hair. She is she's she has sort of the look of an Eastern Southeastern European, basically, so she wears kind of this kind of patchwork of clothing that is meant to look comfortable. That she puts on. So she likes hats. She likes the hats with very broad brims.
Yeah.
That she'll just sort of sometimes just in various of her market videos or whatever, she'll just sort of go up to places and just put on random hats for half an hour. She is, as she's kind of looking through some stuff, sort of stuff on her phone, and she sees you heading out. She's like, "Oh, hey, Serena, you're gonna where are you heading out to today?"
Oh, hi, Liana. I don't know, probably the markets. Just gonna look around, find something to talk about to my followers. You know how everything goes. What are you up to today?
I know I was going to go and look out around the Pantheon some, because there's I just heard there's there are folks who might actually be getting together a protest or something not too far from there. So I was thinking about going and checking that out. I think that could be really cool.
A protest for what?
I have no idea. But I kind of figure that I heard there's something. I think it's got to do with the trains. They're having they're trying to get some. They're supposed to be building like a D line, and it's not even started yet, and they're supposed to be starting it by now down here. And so I figured there might be some folks who might have some interest in that. I can put some kind of spin on that. And so I was thinking about doing that. And oh my God, can I tell you? There was something I saw on one of your streams not too long ago that was awesome. I just got to say, who is that fortune teller that you work with?
Oh, you mean Kai?
Yeah, Kai.
They're pretty awesome. Yeah,
they're brilliant. They're brilliant. I was thinking about trying to go out and see them sometime. Do you know?
I wouldn't bother because they haven't been talking to me lately, and
oh man,
I think they're just really busy. They're pretty wanted around town.
Oh, that sucks.
I've got a lot of clients, and I mean, I am one of their best, and I usually get the urgent meetings, and they haven't even had time for me lately.
Well, that's not. Well, that sucks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that's good, but I guess that's it's they're in demand. That's great. I would kill to get an introduction.
Well, I mean, I could try. Are you going to be in town for long?
Yeah, I'm going to be in town. I'm going to be in town all week.
Okay, I mean, I can't make any promises, of course, but I could see if they want to come over and do a reading sometime, and I could try to introduce you.
That'd be so cool. I would give you my firstborn. You want to do that? If you want to do that?
No. I'm fine. I'm fine without that.
Okay.
I'm gonna head out now, but you have a wonderful day.
And she'll say, and she'll just sort of lean forward, sort of brush her arm. You too, hun. Kill him. Get him. And she says, get him. And she's backing away. She stops. Says, don't kill them. Killing them was bad. Get him. Yeah, there we go.
No killing. And Marina grabs her hat and her bag and just puts her bag on her arm and leaves the shared apartment to go look at the marketplaces in Montano.
Yeah. Now, I will briefly, as MC, state for a moment that if this is the thing on which you follow through, you will have a debt on Ileana.
Awesome. I also just realized this character is just Alexis Rose from Schitt's Creek. I've just realized that. That's all she is.
Excellent life choice.
I love this journey for you.
Voice and all is just Alexis Rose.
So, So where are you planning to? So if we accelerate things a little bit, where are you planning to head? And
Going to Alyssa, you said that Manny had a market in or had a store in Nomentana, right?
Yeah, it's like right on that corner of like the Modern Center, North Center, and Nomentano. So it's like it's mostly in North Center because it's got to get the rich people to like get over themselves. But yeah, it's essentially in that little triangle right there.
Yeah, I think
now I'm doing the Alexis Rose because you're doing it, which is fine.
I think that she spends some time going to like the markets, like picking. She picks up a fresh loaf of bread for one, but she just instinctually heads toward Manny's store.
Okay. All right. Cool. Let me see. So you are you're out and about. I'm going to go ahead then and shift the frame real quick as we're sort of getting things starting to roll somewhat a little bit. As you're heading out, and we're going to move over toward Manny's store. Let's go ahead and let's try this one and see if anything explodes, as he says, playing more music. So Manny, we're going to head toward your store. Did you sort out a name for the shop or not?
I was going to look it up in Italian, but it essentially is going to be the suit place. I didn't look it up in Italian yet, but that's essentially what it translates to because it wasn't meant to be as high end of a store as it ended up becoming. But it is absolutely one of the like extremely high end stores around.
It is the suit place.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it didn't start that way, but that is it was absolutely because when Giuseppe, rest in peace, when he was still alive, he liked a good joke and a good pun. They were unbearable and awful. So having a terrible joke name for a high-end store was exactly.
Il logo della tutta. That's at least what I'm getting in English to Italian on Google, but
that's perfect. It's just the store to anyone that knows it.
So, what does this store look like? What do we see as we are zooming in and seeing you in this place? Are you in this place?
Yeah. So the nice thing about the Fae is I get a nice apartment, and I've just decided to plop it right on top of the store to make it easy for me. But it's a very like dark wood facade looking store. Like very much like the curtains are set in such a way that like you can't really see inside. Like there is a mannequin in the window wearing a very fine outfit, but it is absolutely something that like you gotta be in the know to know what it is. There's the brass plating with the name on the front of the store. Very very tall door. The little apartment above it also has like the same facade, but like if you look at the windows and if you catch it for a minute, it is very very floral and bright. So Manny is probably coming down to see what's on the docket today and just waiting for Gina to get in so that she can do her part of the opening, which is all of the money and the sales stuff, and I am just going to take a look at the all of the tailor and seamstress orders for the day.
Cool.
So it's a busy day, but it's not like busy.
Let me know if this is okay. Did you come up with the last name for Giuseppe? Because I did
not.
Okay,
I will take. You can take it away.
So I've named him Giuseppe Falco. Mm-hmm. And I think that perhaps, if you're all right with this, that Gina might be his granddaughter. Perfect.
I actually was going to suggest that she was probably related to Giuseppe.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you don't have so things on the docket. You do notice that Gina has written something in and circled it. in kind of red marker, and it says it says meeting question mark.
What?
And it says and before it has the initials OF meeting question mark.
Oh. All right. Well, I'm just gonna like take whatever shirt I'm wearing and just like make sure it's really lint free and just sit up and when she put it on, do I have time for coffee before this meeting? Can I
You
have?
may have a
Can
little
I?
time.
All right, excellent. I'm gonna pop over across the street and grab just a nice espresso, something so black and grimy espresso that it's kind of gross to anybody else, but I like it. Maybe just for fun, a little dollop of foam, maybe, and just the biggest whatever is like just croissant looking. It's bonus if it's like got some chocolate or almonds or something.
Yes. Yes. They will, as this is going on, they will hand you your croissant and your special piece of paper with today's bread code on it. This is the for the bread secret messages that are delivered through the bread network.
Excellent. Is it anything good today, or is it just, sometimes it's a dud day on the network, and sometimes people leave like really good tributes.
What is that type of bread called that has kind of that sort of white powdery crust consistency? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like it's just a general.
Or baguette.
I think bulls do it
Ciabatta?
quite a bit.
Could be ciabatta. Yes, I'm thinking of ciabatta.
Ciabatta bread.
The keyword the keyword today apparently it is ciabatta. So apparently there is it's which signifies a motion toward something, a potential confluence may be happening today or soon. It's hard to say.
I'm gonna have to make a note to go by the hub later, maybe.
Perhaps.
Head to the fountain, maybe. Toss a coin.
Yeah. Also, just since we've not mentioned this as you're picking up your bread, what when we see you, what do we see?
So Manny is average-ish height, like maybe a little shorter than Serena, but she's very much like built very stocky, which is kind of surprising for the Fae, and it's 100% because she's mostly like morphed into human at this point. But she tends to keep her hair in like that very like vintagey 40s, 50s rockabilly kind of thing with like the bouffants and things that I can't actually do with my hair because I don't know how. But she keeps a lot of those kinds of things. Very, very well manicured, very well make-upped, but just a very simple like button-up shirt and pants today. Something that like if she, like accidentally oversteams it, like it's not going to be a big deal. So it's a little hardier of a work shirt than probably anything else. But she's usually fairly well dressed. She's very, very bright face, just sort of darkish brown hair. Very, very average Mediterranean features, and a very knowing smile. Like she always seems like she is up to something, even if she's just mostly thinking about food.
Nice. I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see in not too terribly long as you are as you're out here. Let's see. We're coordinating times and things. Yes, briefly. You're going to see. You're going to see Gina heading up. She is. She's sort of a shorter individual, but she has she has long hair that she usually wears pulled back, and she is of course dressed very nicely, very stylishly, and she's talking on the phone, which she does a lot.
Oh my god, constantly. There's constantly.
Yeah, there's just this sort of overarching thing where she's always trying to set things up or do, she's gotten on this kick recently of trying to do things to expand the business. And so that's a lot of what her calls have been like. She recently got one of those hands-free earpieces.
Of course she did.
So that when she's walking by, people think she's speaking to no one in midair, as because it's what happens. But and she's sort of heading up, and she sort of sees you.
Two?
She sees you.
You want one?
Yes, absolutely. Sure. No. Sure, absolutely. No. It's not going to be a trouble. It's not going to be any trouble. No. And as you're sort of ambling toward the, she's like, thank you. Yes. No, I think it'll be. Yeah. No, I think it'll be fine. We'll better bring him over. We'll try. We'll see how it looks. Okay. Okay. Thank you. She turns off. She comes forward. She sort of squeezes your shoulder, if you permit it, and
oh yeah.
She'll be like, yeah. And she will gratefully pick up the bread, and then as you're sort of heading in, she's like, "Hey, what have we got?"
There's a couple more suits left. I'm hoping that Mr. Detellos gets done today, but that man wants pleats in a suit. He's a skinny dude. He doesn't need the pleats. The pleats have gone out of fashion, but every time he comes in, it's always the pleats.
What is this obsession with pleats? I've seen a whole run on this recently, and it's not anything that you cannot bring back the dead.
No, it's men in their it's men in their 80s that want to still look like they're living in the 80s, and I can't take it anymore. It's fine. It's just that the way that he's been having me do these pants for so long that every time I get if they're not perfect, he's gonna yell at me again. Which, it's not yelling, but it's that emphatic thing that I can't take it when a man makes that face, like the. But I wanted it, like, honey, get with the times. So that one, a couple other things. I think some smaller, a couple jacket cuffs. Nothing too big. What's the OF meeting, Gina?
Oh, she just sort of looks, and she sets some things down, and she looks up. She looks up. I don't know if it's for sure. But you will never guess. You will never guess who it is that I ran into last night.
Oh no, that's why I'm asking you, honey. That's what I mostly.
And I think it's going to be more or less at that moment that Serena arrives at the shop. And so it's like Gina is looking over your shoulder for a second, and she seems to have this panic for a second, and she mouths to you, very quickly, she mouths the word Versace.
Oh, well then.
And
All
And
right.
So Serena, it's clear that that there was a sudden urge to be quieter, as you're entering the shop.
Serena just walks in. She's not going to interrupt. She's just going to run her hands along some pocket squares, feeling the fine fabric. She's going to let her Auntie Manny have a moment,
Yeah.
Not going to say anything.
So, this is today, Gina?
She just stopped by on a whim. She doesn't, she just sort of breezes into, she breezes into theaters and buys them.
All right. Well, all right. We'll be. Just let me know. You know how it goes. But I'll be ready.
She nods. Yeah, and she will. And I assume, Serena, you probably know Gina if you've been here, for a time. So, Gina will sort of smile as you come in, and she's always actually quite pleased to see you here because there's always the potential that means that the shop goes on social media.
Yeah, Serena's already taken a picture outside holding a big baguette in front of the store with the suit shop in front of the sign of the suit shop, with a peace sign, already holding a baguette peace sign. And it's already got a ton of likes,
Does it get lots of do the breads in the shop get lots of the hearts on the what do the kids call it? The gram?
I don't think anyone calls it the gram, Manny.
It just seems like it just seems like a nice shorthand, but you know what? You kids and your things, I'm not gonna
if you want to call it the gram, you call it the gram. No one's going to stop you.
You're right. I mean, you're right. But
what are you doing today?
Just, usual couple suits here and there. Apparently, we have a bit of a meeting coming in, but nothing exciting. What's up with you, sweetie? You're here early.
I brought you this, and she hands over a huge baguette.
It's just the big eyes, yes. Oh, and she's immediately gonna crack a little bit off of it and just start chewing on it.
Have you heard anything about a protest lately?
I mean, I thought I heard something on the radio, but I wasn't paying attention. Something about the trains. There's always something with the trains, honey.
D-train, yeah.
Yeah. Why are you gonna take up protesting now? Is that?
No, I might just make an appearance and see what's going on. I like to be socially aware, and my viewers like for me to be socially aware.
I suppose that's a good point. I don't know what the train problem is, though. I assume it's going somewhere. It's not. I honestly, sweet, I wasn't listening that closely.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's sometimes she conspiratorially whispers when Gina's not sometimes it's hard to pay attention to the train when you can just turn into an animal sometimes and flit about.
That's true. I wish we were all that lucky. That would make.
Oh, but then you'd have to go to the court.
Maybe.
You'd have to go to the court, which is.
I don't want to do that.
No one wants. It
sounds like bureaucracy, and I don't really vibe with bureaucracy.
No, me neither. By the way, your mama says hi. She's everything's going great. She's decided to take up Pilates. She's gone to 2 classes. I don't think this one's gonna last either, though, if I'm honest.
She tried Zumba last month.
Yeah, she did 3 classes, and then it was too sweaty. So I don't know why Pilates is gonna be better. But if there's anything you want me to pass on, offer stands.
No, I just, let them know I'm doing fine, like always.
All right.
Well, I think I'm going. Where was the protest at, Jim?
It's going to be by the Pantheon, which is the Pantheon is in the Old Rome district, but it's actually sort of at the edge of it, not far from the fountain.
Okay, cool.
If you kind of think of it, sort of if the fountain's like sort of here-ish, and the Pantheon's sort of like here-ish, so it's
cool.
they're very much walkable between the two of them.
Okay, well, if you get a lunch break or a break, or if you just decide to leave, I'm going to go to the fountain and probably just investigate around the Pantheon, see what's happening.
Oh, I do need to go by the fountain at some point. I did get an interesting message today, so. But I should see when Gina's got this meeting scheduled for us first, and then we'll So, I'll use the phone that I got. I gotta say the text is really small, sweetie. Can I make the text bigger?
Yeah, and she immediately takes the phone from you and puts it up to super hot big letter.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's so much easier. It's not the easiest to read. Oh, that's so much better. Oh, that's so much nicer.
Okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to just go hang out. I'll see you around, though.
All right.
As you are
ciao!
aiming at the door, you turn, and there is a very imposing-looking woman standing in the doorway. She is about 6-ish feet tall. Sort of a little older, probably. But with kind of very very pretty, sort of delicate features from what you can see. She has she's wearing sunglasses, and she has her hair pulled back under sort of a cloth thing. What are the cloth things called? My God, the word's falling out of my brain.
Scarf?
A scarf? Yes, that's what the word is. My God. I'm going to start a Patreon in order to buy some vocabulary.
I have 2 questions for you. One, is she the hot vampire from the new Resident Evil game?
She is
She
not,
might as well
as
be.
far as I'm aware. I don't know. I might. I'll take
Although
a look.
she's not 9'6", which is what they said she was.
2, can I put a face to a name?
Yes. Absolutely. This is definitely a nameable face.
What would I roll with?
So putting a face to a name, I believe, is yes, that's right. For this particular individual. Wait, I need to get me chart. Wild.
Okay. That's a 5. I don't know who the fuck she is. She could be the hot vampire lady from Resident Evil, for all I know.
As far as we know, this is. Let me actually reopen the thing, because the one thing that I forgot to reopen was the list of the various things that happen when you roll the various things.
I owe her. I think I owe her a debt.
Yeah, you might
Or she might not like me or something. I can't remember that.
Yeah, let me go ahead and pull that up real quick, just so that I have that in front of me, so that I will remember. Because I know that if it's a 7 to 9, it's like either you either you don't know them or you owe them, something along those lines. But I don't remember. Well, let me check. Let me check if that's 7 to 9 or if that's
actually what I'm thinking of. 7 to 9.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and do that, because it doesn't necessarily mean you don't know them, but
True, I could just be on their shit list.
Basic moves. There we go. Okay. So, face to name. On a miss, you don't know them. Oh, on a miss, you don't know them or you owe them. The MC will tell you which. I think that with this individual, I don't think you. I think this is someone you don't know much about, but you might have perhaps. You've perhaps seen them somewhere. Occasionally, it depends on how into the fashion world your character is to an extent.
Oh, very much into
You are very into the fashion world. You are very into the fashion world. So, what you know, and we can kind of work this out a little bit, is that this person you would know, you've recognized this person because they work for Versace. But you probably don't know a lot about what they do for Versace necessarily. Do you think it would make sense for you to owe them?
I thought of a way that I could owe them, if that works for you. I thought that maybe they could have went out on a limb and sent me clothes to advertise, and I never did it.
Ah.
So they got in trouble because of something that I didn't do, so I owe them big time.
Okay. All right. So so it's hard to give an imperious look through sunglasses, but she manages it.
Sabrina's actually sort of going behind Manny a little bit.
You probably, since that's the case, I will say that her name will occur to you. Manny knows who this is, but just for funsies, Manny, would you also like to put a face to a name, because that's a possibility here?
Yeah, that's fun. Which role was that again?
That should be under your faction moves. Which let me see.
Oh, there it is. I found it.
Yeah.
Well, I also missed. So
okay. So
I definitely owe her quite a bit.
You definitely owe her, and I'm going to tell you a couple of there are a couple other things. First of all, so this is Olympia Fortunato. Is her name, and she has been the thing, Manny, that you're aware of is that there is something different about her. You have never been able to figure out what that different thing is. But you've seen her around since like the 70s. And she's not changed a damn bit.
Yep. She's up to something.
And
what do I owe her?
That's a great question. Let's see. This once again, I don't know. Yeah, what do you think? This could be fashion related. Or it could be something strange and mysterious that we don't know what it means yet.
I actually almost think it's more the mysterious thing. I think it's been like this whole, like, I know she's important to the fashion world, but like I'm pretty sure, like, having seen her around, it's something in that regard. Like I somehow in stumbling upon, like, trying to figure out, like, what is her deal, I've ended up in a situation where, like, she recognized that I was Fae, and it's like, well, please don't tell anyone, and that is how I owe her.
Excellent. So yeah, so she caught you spying on her, basically.
I done did a dirty follow, and I'm not a spy by trade, so.
Yeah. You weren't able to find out much at the time when you did this. When do you think this happened, roughly?
Well, probably the 90s at some point. You know, if you see somebody not changing for a while, it's like, they're one of us, right? But like, what one of us? So this is an old, you know, this is good 90s time dead.
Yeah. Yeah, you've seen her, yeah, I think that, in part, I really need to put, I have this spreadsheet with NPCs on them, and I really need to, color code some of them so I can determine which subgroup within the various factions they go to, because we've already got, 32 NPCs. But
That is for you, baby.
but I know, right? But as I'm trying to look for the different candidates, and I think what I'll say is that you actually, you saw her. It was like the middle of the night. It was at the Trevi Fountain, and she was talking to the old guy, the old guy who's in charge of the crew that gets the coins out when they're getting ready to be delivered to charity. Every night they come in and they get the coins, and she was basically out talking to that guy, and for some reason they were having maybe a little bit of an argument, you seem to remember, and then she saw you, and then basically that conversation ended. But we're actually, as we've identified that, we're going to move away from the shop for about a moment. And let's see. We are. I think we'll go on a tiny bit longer before we break, if folks are okay with that. Would that be all right? Just a tiny bit. We're about an hour in. And I think we're going to... I want to see what Kai is doing today. So, where do we find Kai?
So Kai is in their apartment. They are dressed for the day. Kai doesn't really own anything outside of the black, white, and gray spectrum of clothing. Everything monochrome, I think there's probably one purple scarf somewhere in the back of the closet. And so they are in black jeans, black boots with silver hardware, a long sleeved gray shirt, white scarf, black jacket, kind of getting ready to leave and go to their workplace in the decommissioned cathedral, where they have a list of clients, kind of reviewing their on their phone, scrolling through, just double checking their Google Calendar of who's up for the day, and kind of doing a last minute run around checking. There's a couple of plants that need some watering, and they're a little scatterbrained, trying to take 4 steps toward the door and go, okay, no, this. And then they take another 3 steps toward the door, and they go back. And it's just trying very hard to get out of the apartment, and it's taking a little longer than normal because they keep forgetting things or getting distracted by stuff. They have a black messenger bag over the shoulder filled with notebooks, a couple of card decks, and there's it's a studio apartment, so bed, kitchen, dining room, everything is all one area. So on the it's actually on one of the dining room chairs, as if they had been drawing in bed and just stuck it on the nearest flat surface, a sketchbook with just some random imagery from whatever dreams plagued them overnight. And when they finally make it out the door, if we're staring into the camera, they look like they are running on coffee and fear and nothing else for the moment. But do make it out, lock the door, and nod at whatever neighbor they see, and head toward probably public transit to get them to the cathedral.
Okay. So this is a thing which takes a little while. Traffic in Rome is bad. I just want to make sure that is expressed properly.
Yeah. In theory, I have a crappy car. It's part of the gear that comes with the Oracle kit, but I feel like if Kai has it at all, they have long forgotten about it, and it has been impounded or is collecting dust in a parking garage somewhere, because it's just so useless in Rome.
It tends to be. Yeah, it's one of those things where even the transit can take a while, but it's if you're headed to Old Rome, it actually is a little faster, so you're okay in terms of getting there. It's just if you want to go anywhere other than the old city, then you have to either it's there's no direct route if you're in a car or you're on the roads. Then it's there you have to go into these. You have to either take all these. You have to take these circuitous routes, and there are these big. Get onto one of the big circles and get around into wherever it is you want to go. So it's either you take the roads that go through where the worst traffic is, or you're on the massive roundabouts that are out there, as it were.
I feel like Kai maybe started off their existence in Rome with a car. Just somehow it came, like either they brought it from the States when they officially moved over, or seemed like a good thing to have because they're from the Midwest, where you need a car to get anywhere because it's so spread out, and so just a good idea. And then either sold it or has not been paying rent on the parking spot that they have for it in the parking garage for several years, and at this point the car just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody has said, you know what, we own this car now because you have not paid rent on this spot, and so we're just going to take it. And I is like, I've forgotten that I own a car, so that's totally fine, whatever. So public transit is usually how they get around.
And I mean, that's fair. That's very fair.
They also have a bike, just like a regular, people-powered bike.
It's very, very fair. It's you actually have to so kind of as you're headed through, you see that there are you're going there through public transit. You can see that as you're this church is kind of on the outskirts of Old Rome, so it's not as hard to get to per se, but it's either like a bus or a tram of some kind that you're on right now is going to stop a few times. Occasionally you see these this large group of people who seem to who seem to be headed with like these, and you can't they've got like picket signs and stuff. They're not like standing there picketing or anything.
They're on their way to do.
They're on their way to do something, and it's mostly younger folk, and it's a few things. It's like a few of the signs you kind of catch some of the glimpses. It's in Italian, but it's largely it looks like it's something about trains and something about anti-religion to an extent, and sort of crowds, going about. But you're only delayed briefly. Do you? Yeah, no, we're fine. We're fine. You when you get to your stop, you get off and you head toward the cathedral, and you are immediately greeted by this small swarm of cats, who's like the sort of the moment you step off and you come in sight of this church, they're like just sort of like all coming around and sort of pawing.
Down and scratch. Do the cats look? Have I seen these cats before, or are they completely new? Like, are they around here and I see them daily?
You think you've seen them before.
Okay.
there's
I'll do
there's
where you
yeah,
like hold out your hand and let the cat sniff you,
yeah.
and then scratch behind their ears.
They do that a lot. There's one in particular that seems to follow you like everywhere when you're in this part of town, and they once again they will seem to like follow you into the church unless you do something to stop them.
No, they can come.
It's yeah. This cat in particular is what is that? What is that breed called? Aegean, actually. So they've got the sort of the white. It's white and gray, kind of sort of the white underbelly and the gray top with sort of little stripes. Back up the head, one of those. Sort of like some of
So
them
when
have,
they
like,
put
gray
on Kai's
masks.
clothing, it'll all match. So
Yes, yes. So so you match, and you kind of are heading as you're sort of heading in for to see about to do this yeah, sure, we can do that. Why don't we do that? Okay. um you your place you work out of is it in sort of a catacomb underneath, or is it
yeah,
okay.
it's underground. It's the base. The church is sort of divided into sections that have been rented out to people. Kai's is in the basement. There's a couple of like bro coders in some other area of the church that I don't know the names of because I don't. And the attic part is a photography studio. Kai has literally never seen anybody there ever, and they've been there all times of day. So it's rented out and it's clean and somebody pays, but it's the photography, the coders, and then Kai in the basement.
Okay. Is there like signage or some sort of thing? Is that how you get people to come in, or do you at this point, is it just, do people just seek you out? Is that
People, yeah, at this point, Kai is pretty much on a word of mouth basis. They don't need to do a lot of their own advertising. But when people do reach out to them and say, hey, let's schedule, they give their clients directions. There's not there's not like a building directory or, fortunes told in the basement signage. There. The other, the coders have a sign. The photography studio does not, and neither does Kai. It's,
okay.
Again, the clientele are given the directions of where to go.
Do you have like, so you have you set up, you have it's appointment based basically?
Yep.
How we
Yeah, not really. If they occasionally do like a walk-in type of thing, but when they do that, they're like out in a park with signs. This is their place of business, and they have a schedule, and it's not really a walk-in thing.
Cool. I think that one of the things what happens as you are kind of heading in. I'm going to now ask this eternal question that often is a thing forgotten about in RPGs, but we'll see. Do you have a phone?
I do, yes.
Okay. You see, you've got a text
Okay.
from Virgil,
Okay.
and it sort of pops up. It says, "Do you have a sec to talk?"
I think so. Yeah, Kai gets to work early so they can kind of get the whole vibe and aesthetic going. Light some candles and everything, so people, when they show up, walk into the aesthetic that they are expecting from a fortune teller. So they usually get to work maybe half an hour to 45 minutes before their first client of the day so they can get that. So Kai does have time. Yep. So I send back a quick, yep. And text back, yes, call or text, ? Send.
And he will, and he'll basically, it's going to start ringing.
Okay.
At that
I'll
point.
answer it.
So you guys were coming in. Hey, listen, there's, I got wind of something, and there's a fellow that wants you to do a reading for them, and I know normally that, you're fine on this on your own, but there's this guy is very insistent, and somehow he knew kind of that I am connected to things, and he somehow knew that I am connected to you.
Okay. That's not sure. I mean, I'm booked during the day, but if he wants to come on by later, like after my normal hours, that's fine. What was your read on this guy?
Yeah, that's kind of the the interesting thing here.
Before I commit, what's your vibe check on the guy?
My vibe check on this guy is that he is he has got problems of some kind.
Don't we all?
But he also, here's the thing, see, I think that he's, that he didn't want to talk about them, obviously. But he has he's keyed into the community somehow.
Okay.
But I haven't seen him around before, which automatically puts me a bit suspicious.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm good, but I'm not, outside of Rome good. People aren't flying here to talk to me. Yeah. So,
I mean, this is somebody who is I don't think he's an out of towner. The man is the man. Hold on just a moment. Jim is going to correct something. See, Jim has created 32 NPCs. But,
several of which might be my fault.
Several of them, yes. Let's see. No, actually, no. I'm going to go in a different direction with this. It'll be fine. And actually, I'm sorry. I'm saying man. It's they actually, I'm not sure how they're identifying.
Okay.
So that's however set up, but they wear masculine clothes, right? And I think they kind of struck me as somebody who knows how to probably somebody who knows how to fight, just from the way that this person moved. I got that much. But they're speaking Italian pretty fluently, and
so
they're like, and it's like they're a native. So
okay.
Not sure what to look at there.
So they contacted you out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
Specifically to set up a reading with me, who they knew about.
Yeah.
And they are okay.
They know me through somebody, and I'm trying to find out who, but I haven't been able to find out yet because I don't know very much about this person.
Do we have a name, or just random person who contacted my high school buddy? Because I can put them in my calendar that way. I just want to make sure that I'm addressing them correctly.
Yeah. Gave the name Eric.
Name.
Yeah, gave the name Erica.
Erica. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they only gave me their first name, but if if you're not, if you feel off on it, I can just text them. I can just get back in touch with them, tell them right back that you're not open. If you prefer, but if you want to see them, I'll let them know.
I'll see him. Yeah. Again, I'm pretty booked during normal hours for the next a while. So if they want something, normal people hours, they're going to be waiting a bit. But I do have some after hours openings available for, or emergencies, special reasons. So.
All right. And if you don't want to have to do it there, if you want, I can set it up like in one of the meetings that I do around here, where you can be in a more secure place if you want.
Yeah, let's do that. Given the read of this being a person who can fight, who we have never encountered before, and who wanted a meeting specifically with me. I mean, the coders upstairs stay late, but they're running mostly on energy drinks, and I don't know, something experimental they got from a buddy of theirs. So I don't really trust them to be at all useful if shit goes down. So that would be great. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. All right. Well then, just whenever you're, whenever you're finished out there, you just come by the fountain. And,
all right.
We'll get it set up.
Will do. Thanks, Chuckles.
See you later, Kai.
Bye.
And well, actually, I'm wondering if you would ask. No, he'll ask it later. All right. So yeah, no, and that's done, and you proceed to start your first client arrives, and you start your day, and I'm going to. Let's see, we're almost at 7. Let's go ahead and shift real quick now over to introduce Mallory, if we could. And I want to at least start this up. We may need to go to break in a few minutes, but I just want to just see kind of where we are. Mallory, where do we find you?
You would see Mallory just coming in the door of her her decently nice on the outside secluded Trastevere apartment. She is tall, kind of sinewy, oddly enough, like dressed like a movie would dress a gangster, sort of like in a nice blazer, that sort of thing. She has like a tank top underneath with like a necklace. Her hair is like bleached white and would be fashionable like the rest of her, except she looks like she's been through a tussle. She has like tissues in her nose, and you can see like through her tank top she has like from the collarbone down fairly intricate tattooing, but she looks exhausted as she stumbles into her apartment, not even just turning on it's early in the morning, so there's a little bit of light, and she's just like, damn it. At least I get to rest. And then she gets and wanders almost to the couch. The apartment looks nice on the outside. It is a mess. There is leftover food from days. There are energy drinks everywhere. There's beer bottles everywhere, and just like clothes just like thrown around. It is like you've had a college student in there, but they just like a bunch of them. It's like this shouldn't be like one person's mess. And she gets to the couch and just does that thing where she'll like flop almost unconsciously, and she is out.
So time passes.
I imagine it's like that Shauna the Dead thing where he like at the beginning he just like falls asleep, and then just it like does like a quick like flash like like flash forwards, like it's the same position, but it's just like it is a different time of the day.
So something is going to awaken you, and this is I'm going to lean on another trope here. As you sort of you are coming to consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
You can smell coffee. And you kind of you open your eyes and you see that there is a mug of coffee sitting on the on your either if you have say an end table or a coffee table.
It's like that one piece that's like
yeah.
not covered in like paper and stuff.
It is it's this coffee steaming up. Apparently, it's just been placed there, and you hear from the place where you have like maybe there's a table and a chair nearby, where the camera sort of will pan back as you see this. And and the camera will sort of come, and you'll see that it settles down behind the head of someone wearing a suit, sitting at the table, and who looks over and says, "Rough night."
Holy shit! I just need a few hours. Oh my! What do you want?
In an ideal world, I would like my suits.
What suits? Those suits.
Picking up a couple of very important garments for me that only could be made by specific individuals.
Yes,
and,
yes. I picked them up, and then you called me.
Yeah.
And you had me do that job. I did that job. They were unhappy. I dealt with it. I got the stuff there, and I came back home, which. And I left it. Oh, left it. Damn it.
Well, 50-50 is not bad, I suppose. 50-50 is terrible, by the way. That was me being facetious. I don't know. Can you tell when I'm facetious? Should I work harder at it?
Do whatever you want. It's irritating either way.
Ah, understood. So this gentleman, who I have been calling Mr. Sharp, stands up, and you see that he is. So he's got short cropped. In his current appearance, he has got short cropped black hair, sort of that. You could swear it might have been oiled back or something, but it just stays there on its own, and a goatee, and he's wearing a 3-piece suit. Today's 3-piece suit is a sort of a charcoal color, and he kind of glances over. I don't think I don't think I properly expressed the importance of those suits and what they do, especially what they're made out of.
And
because that's very important.
You tell me now, aren't you, how much I messed up, right? That's why you're here.
Well, I think, it's I like it when my employees learn and are therefore able to continue to be of use. It's kind of you see, it's like you are able to. I feel like sort of the relationship here is that you're able to, is that I'm helping you to stay breathing and helping you get inroads with things, and you are helping me to inhabit the city in the way that I need to. And I'm having some issues with inhabitation, and those suits were going to be the key to those issues, and unfortunately, we're going to have another pair of them made, which is going to take a considerable amount of time. I don't even know if the materials are going to be available. This is the kind of you understand, this is the kind of shit you can only get, in places that are not Earth, right? You understand this, right? You didn't understand that. Yeah. Okay. I was kind of hoping you might be able to intuit it, but I can see clearly that
in a box.
Hmm.
And you keep telling me don't look in the boxes when I go and get them. So I didn't. So I can't necessarily grasp the unearthly beauty of these suits.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't have actually. No, it's best not to look at them, really, to be fair. But you understand that this stuff that I wear isn't this stuff that I wear isn't like this isn't actually Armani. This is something else that looks like Armani. You understand that, right?
Yes, whatever fashion designers in hell. Yeah, that sort of thing.
They are getting more interested in Armani and hell. It's very strange. But anyway, I think the important thing here that we have to kind of get across is that someone is running around out there in demonic armor.
And I'm guessing they won't immediately burst into flames if they put it on?
That'd be great. No, unfortunately, not in this case. It's not exactly what I would say is for primary battle purposes. Not in that way, but that's an interesting idea. I should actually look into something a bit flammable. That might actually be
definitely make retrieving them better, because we just look in the obituaries and it's like, this person burst into flames. It's like,
that'd be a good idea. Yeah, no. If were that the case, but here's the thing. The main thing, the important thing, the really important thing, is we do not want these to fall into these suits to fall into the wrong hands, because you realize that if one of my competitors gets them, then they're going to have, shall we say, a bit more of an insight into our dealings here than we want to have, and that's going to be bad for both of us.
Yeah, bad. So find these suits.
Yes, I'd really appreciate it if you could find these suits, because it's going to be a serious problem if they get out and she gets a hold of them.
Can I ask who? Just so I can watch out if her people are out there.
I believe this century she's decided to go by Miss Vex. And until quite recently, she was kind of she was almost about to be everywhere. Luckily, that was shut down. But we kind of need to make sure that nothing else happens here, because right now Vex is kind of desperate. And that is when she is at her most dangerous. There is every possibility be completely clear here that in the next few days, she's going to fuck the entire city up. So get the suits.
Today
would be great. Because, you know, I mean, if we don't do it today, then, you know, there's like less of a chance that we still have, you know, Rome tomorrow. So
yeah,
it helps if we
and it would be
continue to have the same
for Rome to be
the city that we still have.
Mm-hmm.
You get it. You see, I know that you are smart enough to do this job. You come around eventually. Excellent. Call me at midnight. Let me know what you've got. Preferably call me and tell me you have the suits. That'd be the best.
And I think Mallory's right now at this moment, like she's maybe not. She's like trying to figure out where she left this thing.
And he gets up and he heads out and he's heading out the door and he turns as he opens the door and he glances back. Your coffee is getting cold, by the way. And he
God bless
the
you.
door behind him. And you say that, he's like, ah. And then he turns and heads out. And that, I think, is where we're going to go to break for a bit. So we will be back in like 5-10 minutes. I'm going to throw on an interview. And so after that, we shall return. We shall see you in a little bit. Welcome to the break. I am here with James Introcaso, writer and game designer. Greetings.
Greetings.
And we are going to talk a bit about the game Zweihander, which you've been doing some work on. Now, I'm not actually deeply familiar with the game. I've been sort of around the edges of it, so maybe you can help sort of introduce us to this game and what it's about. What is Zweihander and what's it about?
So Zweihander is a game that was created by Daniel Fox, and it's put out by Andrews McMeel Publishing. It is a grim and perilous role-playing game. So it takes place in, assumes that it takes place in a sort of medieval fantasy world. There are firearms and things, so it's around that sort of fire army time. I'm not very good with my world history, as you can tell. But it also has a lot of themes that we would expect probably to see in some older role-playing games. Things like not everybody trusts magic and thinks that maybe it's witchcraft and bad. It's magic is not like used in healing a lot. So a lot of what makes it grim and perilous is that combat in the game and other hazards that you run into are usually very deadly, and you need to look out for that. And you might spend weeks in between adventures kind of recuperating if you take a lot of damage during an adventure and are lucky enough to survive. And you can get infections and that sort of thing. So that's what makes it grim and perilous. But what makes it really interesting is kind of the dark bent that is there, and what toll does adventuring take on people who choose to take up an adventuring life, right? It's about both the physical toll and the mental and emotional toll that can kind of be put upon people who decide that they will take on adventuring. And it uses a D100 system. So it's a skill-based system. I think it's very similar to Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 2nd edition. So if you are familiar with that, there's a bunch of different skills. You have a certain percentage in those skills. You roll D100 to see if you get under that percentage. If so, you succeed. If not, you fail. That's sort of the very, very, very basic rules in Zweihander. And it is a ton of fun. It is a lot of fun to play because it's also got a sense of humor to it. And I would say a little bit almost like Evil Dead, right? Like when you're reading the book, there are some little jokes and jabs and things like that. It doesn't take itself too seriously. So for all of its heavy and emotional weight and being about human suffering and things like that, it is also a very fun book to read, and it's a very fun game to play because of those reasons. And it's meant to explore darker themes. It's definitely not one you would want to play like with your kids. This is one for adults in that sense, that it is more violent and more deadly and that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, that's very cool that they're trying to be at least the gritty realism thing. There are, of course, a lot of different varied opinions on how one achieves that, but it sounds like this is a very they're trying to do something that's a good balance.
They are.
Which is good.
Yeah, and there's a lot of rules for resolving things without combat, right? There's really in-depth chase rules for when you're running away from something. How do you get away from it, right? And there's very in-depth social interaction rules because Zweihander assumes like, okay, well, we've made combat very deadly. You're probably not going to resort to combat at first in most situations because you're really taking a risk when you do. And so I really appreciate that, right? Like there's all sorts of different skills that you can use to get out of different situations and overcome obstacles while you're adventuring. It's not just hack, right? It's a lot of like, okay, well, maybe we're going to go into battle. Well, how do we best go in here? Well, let's prepare the battlefield. Let's dig pits for traps, spill lamp oil everywhere so we're ready to light it on fire. Like all that kind of stuff is really, really fun to do and encouraged. And I think what's great about Zweihander is it gives you a lot of the tools to do that. So, right, when I look at some other old school role-playing games, it's hard because it's like, yeah, your players are going to want to do stuff. Let them do it. But they don't give you the tools and mechanics necessarily to go there and do those things when your players improv. This one really does. It gives you a lot of tools to be able to improv and a lot of optional things. This is the core rule book right here. And what I also like about it is I feel like a lot of these grittier old school role-playing games, we don't see a ton of character options, right? It's like you're a wizard, you get one spell level per level, right? Or hey, you're a fighter, your attack bonus goes up +1 each level, and that's it. Zweihander is a super duper customizable and has a very, very fun character creation system that involves a lot of rolling on random tables to see who you create and a lot of different character options. And you also get like 3 different professions throughout your career. You start with one, and then when you get to a certain level, add another, and then you add another. And you can mix and match any of them in the book, leading to a lot of different combinations of characters. So I really like that and appreciate that like you're not bored as a player because you can do a lot of different things and you're highly customizable with it.
Nice. There's one other thing I wanted to ask you about, and I don't know how mechanical this is in the system, but you did talk about Zweihander addressing the psychological effects of adventuring, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about how that game addresses that.
Sure. So there's a couple of different tools in Zweihander for that. One is called corruption. So in Zweihander, you have alignment, but it's different than what we know in D&D alignment. You have an alignment that exists on a law and a chaos scale, and you have like 2 ends of that, right? So like one is like your lawful alignment might be like piety, and then your chaotic on that spectrum would be like fanaticism, right? So it's like, hey, these are 2 sides of the same coin. And you have this resource called corruption. And every time you do something that is questionable in nature, and I don't just mean robbing a shopkeep, but certainly that, but also like you leave a bunch of people to fend for themselves with a monster because you want to survive, you gain corruption. And as you gain corruption, then at the end of the session, you make a roll to see, based on how high your corruption is, do you swing more towards your chaotic rank or more towards your lawful rank? And so over time, you build up law and chaos, and you get different things as you achieve those points, right? And on the chaos end of the spectrum, you could like turn into a vampire or become a werewolf or that kind of thing. But you also can take two different sort of damage tracks. There's a physical damage track, and then there's a peril track. And peril is like your stress. And so as you become more stressed, things can happen to you that can permanently affect your character, as well as injuries, right? Like you could lose a hand and that affects your character, right? And you can get prosthetics and things like that to help you out. But so there, the same way that damage can have some permanent effects, physical damage, peril can have some permanent effects on your character as well as magic. If you're a magic user, you're like pulling from the chaos, and you can channel that chaos to make your spell more powerful and give it a better chance to succeed. But whenever you do that, you also run the risk of giving yourself some magical kind of manifestations that can permanently or temporarily affect your character. And the same thing is true with stress and with damage. Some injuries only affect your character for a small amount of time, some for a larger amount of time.
Cool. Very cool. Well, now, this, as of this recording, is not out yet, but I understand you're working on a thing that uses Zweihander, are you not?
Yes, I am. So, and it's a full length adventure. And when I say full length, I mean hardcover, gonna be a lot, at least 250,000 words kind of thing, that you could sit down, you'll create characters in the beginning to play it and probably be ready to retire them by the time you are done. Right. And so I can't say too much more about that, but I am allowed to say that I am working on that. So I've been doing a very deep dive. Pretty much every day I'm working on the manuscript. Because 250,000 is a lot of words to get that done and to get that into the hands of the various editors and things like that. And I'm play testing it once a week as I am writing. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. It's very fun for me to work in a system. You know, Burn Bright has one mode. This is a totally different mode for me that I'm used to working in. So I'm very, very excited to be doing that.
Can we say the name of the project?
I don't think we can actually, other than no TBA's Zweihander project. Andrews McMill is currently like looking into the name to see if they can get it.
Oh,
right?
Gotcha.
Yeah. We could give it a code name though, if you want, Jim.
What should we code it?
Yeah. I will say that the word eternal is probably going to be in the title. I'm just going to leave it there.
Awesome. So the code name is Eternal or some synonym thereof.
Right.
Awesome.
Yes.
So if folks are wanting to look into this and see more about it when it's coming out, what should they be keeping an eye on?
They should head on over to, I guess, Zweihander's website, which I believe is zweihander.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at James Intricasso. Worldbuilderblog.com will have updates. That's my blog. And also, if you follow Daniel D. Fox, he is leading the development editing for this. He is at Zweihander RPG on Twitter. So those are all good places where you will definitely be able to find more updates as this comes out.
Awesome, James. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jim. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you all for watching. You're beautiful people.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you folks so much. Well, we're going to throw things back to whatever it is that I'm doing right now. Take care. We will see you all of a sudden.
Yep, we'll see you then. Take it away, future Jim.
Greetings, we have returned, and we are going to head into as this is going on. We're going to head back now to Serena and Manny, and sort of see how that scene ends up, and kind of leap around randomly from there, sort of as we kind of are putting things in place. So you are standing in the presence of this awesome individual that as Jim tries to decide on soundtracks and just goes back to the original one, so Olympia Fortunato, she will kind of step forward, and sort of as just sort of looking around the shop a little bit, and waves at Manny, and we'll sort of see
Serena's like searching through her bag
shifting a little bit.
for her sunglasses to put them on. Like, I cannot be seen. Don't perceive me.
Miss Fortunato, it's nice. Welcome. I believe Gina has stepped to the back for a second, but I'm happy to gather her. Is there anything I can get you in the meantime? We do have a little bit of champagne, though it is a little early.
And she kind of just sort of shrugs a shoulder. When you say that, and she is kind of let me see where I am with that part. Yes, good. She is hang on. Jim is trying to remember something. There we go. Okay, good. All right. Yes, good. And just sort of will step forward. She says, "Well, no, it's no, it's fine. I don't. I have yet to determine if I need anything, but I suppose we are here to find that out, are we not?"
It would seem so.
Yes.
Allow me to grab my business partner. Perhaps we can take you back to the office and get you settled and cozy. I'm just gonna gently lead her and let Serena go.
I'm just gonna go. I'll see you around.
As you're kind of moving to try to scooch past Miss Fortunato, she will raise her hand sort of like this. "It's so good to see you, my dear."
Hello, Miss Fortunato. It's wonderful to see you.
And she is sort of starting to raise her hand, toying with her with the band of her sunglasses, almost as though she is considering lowering them a bit. And as she's just sort of tilts her head, she says, let's see. "I think this is something that might be ultimately also of interest to you. It is good that you know that you are acquainted with no, she would use your she would use Manny's that you're acquainted with
Carangelo?
Yeah, that you are acquainted with Miss Carangelo. Are you well acquainted?"
We know each other very well, actually.
"Oh, that's very good. That is very good. There is going to be an event perhaps coming up that I think you might be interested in.
Oh, well, do you still have my details?
Oh, I do. I have all of them.
I'm sure you do. Just give me a call and I'll see what I can do. I'm a very busy person. I'm sure you of all people understand.
Oh, of course, my dear. Do she says, but yes, if this is it is very important what we try to do here in this place. I would very highly recommend that if I am able to present this opportunity to you, that you may look into it.
I'll make all the time in the world.
Excellent.
Not lying yet. Not lying yet. And then she's going to get out of there. Just give a little wave to Manny, and once she's out on the street, immediately takes out her phone and hits Kai's number.
Okay. So, I think that with the time differential being the way it is, we can go ahead and just say that you're down in the that Kai is down in the at work when this happens. But it's you're not immediately, you don't have a client right in front of you right now, so you're good.
Okay. I'll answer. Hey.
Kai.
Serena, hi.
What are you doing?
Just kind of resetting, cleansing stuff between clients.
Are you busy?
I mean, I'm cleansing things and resetting things between clients, but no.
I sort of need your advice, which means I'm just going to come to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, I'll be there in just a minute. Well, I mean, more than a minute. It's going to take a little while.
I mean, traffic and everything.
You know what I mean. Have you heard anything about a protest?
I saw some people with signs on my way in today. Something about trains and so there's some anti-religion stuff involved in it too. I don't understand how. I don't see the Venn diagram intersection of trains and anti-religion. I'm sure it's there, but I
really just don't keep up with that stuff. It's just, it's protests are so many people, and more people is really bad for my skin, and bad skin is really bad for my image. And if I don't have my image,
more people is bad for your skin.
Yeah, it's just like people, it's all of they talk a lot, oils spread. It's a very scientific thing, Kai. You should look into it. Anyway, I'll see you soon, okay?
Okay.
And she hangs up.
Kai very quickly looks at their phone and just double checks that they do in fact have the next little bit free and they don't have a client coming in the next 5
Like that would stop Serena.
No, that would not stop Serena, but that they don't have to now do the awkward, hey, so client who has had this booked for 6 months, so my friend showed up, and they do. It's functionally lunch hour or however time works.
Yeah, no, there's no one in here there's no one else in here but that cat who is currently sort of sitting on who is sitting on a nearby table, just sort of looking at you.
I give it a little scratch behind their ears.
I think that I check my new followers and new, all of that stuff. I just keep an eye on it, and I want to do something, but I have to.
Yes.
I have to make sure that I'm doing something right. I want to, as I like get on public transport to go see Kai, I want to use. It's not like a named move or anything, but my flock is connected to me through a psychic link that offers me unparalleled access. I can let it out to try to listen in on specific members' thoughts, cash in debts as if a member of my flock was right in front of you, call your flock to action at a distance, or even mark corruption to take on the physical appearance of a member of your flock for a scene. So I can do a lot with it.
Yes.
I want to do let it out to try to listen in on a specific member's thoughts, see if I can find out more about this protest. This protest has really gotten Serena going. She's like, what is going on with this? So I think I have a member of my flock that isn't like a community worker or anything, but I know they're very they're very active in like socioeconomic protests. They're very active in like downtown, keeping things like for the people, that sort of thing. They're like against the what this train might mean for the city.
Okay. So there's an interesting okay. You do have and I'm gonna throw this out there, and this might actually be the opposite of what you're looking for. So let me know if this is the opposite of what you're looking for. But mostly I have to think by talking, as probably everyone has figured out by now. So you have there is a flock member who actually works out of Termini Station. That's the main train station, the main transit station in Italy. They are basically they have a number of connections with that sort of thing, and they're mostly they're kind of into travel. Do you need someone who is outside of that system, or do you want someone who is within that system?
I'm sort of into a person in that system, like someone who would know what this protest is about.
Okay.
Like specifically about.
So this is so this is a couple things I need to tell you about this person.
Okay.
First of all, this is Tommaso, or Tom.
Okay.
Tom Donati, and he is also the one who is seeing Manny.
I love it. Yeah. We're gonna let it out to see inside of Tom's thoughts.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah.
And hope I don't get any thoughts of Manny.
One can but hope.
I mean,
Well, there it is. Let's see. Okay. So.
It doesn't have any.
No misconditions. So there will
failure.
Be. But that said, let me do something real quick.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Do. Which one of these shall I do? Because there are a couple of things this could be related to. Yeah. It's probably not that one. It is, although it's tied secondarily to it. And this one is... Yeah, so you'll have to forgive me while I think out loud for this real quick. Yes. I think it's most likely it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of this, which is heading toward anyway. So we're going to very tentatively move in that direction. Okay. Which is interesting for a couple of reasons. But, so... You will. The first thing you're going to get, it's going to be kind of brief. What does this look like when you are looking into this person's head? Is it what form does it take?
She goes to his Instagram profile, and it looks almost like she's like completely zoning out. Her eyes go a little far-fetched. She's staring at it, and she's completely channeling everything about Tom through her phone. So I actually, in my gear, I got to pick a holy item. I've chosen my iPhone as my holy item. So that's how she's going to do all her channeling and stuff. So she goes to his profile and she is completely channeling everything about Tom. She has this just like zoned out look, just like anyone else zoned out on social media, on public transport.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is the interesting thing that you kind of briefly something a little weird happens when you do this. As you are you're sort of looking and you think for a moment, you get thoughts of they're like, for a moment you think maybe he's worried about something. There's a certain degree of oh crap going on, and a certain degree of and it's not clear. It's like, I wonder if this has anything to do with one thing you do remember, and you sort of, well, this is sort of as he's saying it, is let's see, where is it? Names. He is he's like thinking, wish I could talk to Priya about this. And Priya, is one of your missing followers, and he knows some of them.
Okay.
They're local. They're all local here. As you're kind of getting that, rather than he's wondering, I wonder if this is connected to, and it's like your vision almost seems to cloud for a second, and you're sort of looking at a picture that has him with somebody else, or a couple of other people, and all of their eyes are looking different in some way.
Okay.
And it's just for a sort of a second where you look at them, and then they're sort of looking at you like with these sort of eyes with gold irises.
And
is
anyone in the picture familiar? Like, is it a picture of him and Priya, or is it just him that I recognize?
You realize, there are about like half a dozen people in this picture. He's in the picture. Priya is in the picture. And also their friends, Fabia and Ada and a couple of other people.
Okay.
And you realize that Priya and Fabia and Ada are the ones that are missing.
Okay.
And as they're just sort of these gold eyes are kind of like looking for a second into your soul, and you hear what is, you're kind of like hearing this. It's kind of, you ever have like, as you're coming out of a dream, it's like someone is talking, and you're not sure if you're if it's someone actually talking, or if it's like on the radio, or if it's just someone talking in your dream. You just hear this voice that sounds kind of a lot like Miss Fortunato's say, Gia is leading the cats. You must stop them. If you want them to remain healthy, do you not? Do something. And then it ceases, and your Instagram sort of goes for a second. There's a brief ad that shows up for an app called Anima. Anima.
I love it.
That seems to have something to do with life insurance or something. You're not sure. Some kind of app. And then it returns to normal, and you're just looking at, you see people's videos and stuff.
She did say Gia, not Gina, right?
Yeah, Gia.
Okay, Gia. I love it. It's so good.
Yeah. Anima, as opposed to Anima, which is an entirely different app, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay, yeah, I think that she comes out of the vision and just has this deep breath. Very confused because it's never happened to her before. And puts her phone away for the first time that whole day. And is just like thinking in her head, okay, I gotta get to Kai.
Yes. Okay. So let's move a little further. Manny, I think just I'm going in order of timing. I think how this is going to come about. Manny, I think you are. You're having sort of a business meeting with Miss Fortunato and with Gina. And she's basically you've been sort of talking for the last, let's say, hour or more about the possibility of branching out, possibly seeing about because people like your store, and sort of the possibility of like doing some kind of a thing where there's some Versace branded stuff happens, and with your store, and at the same time, then your store can then put some of their stuff out within some of the places, the stores that Versace has, stores and sites and such that Versace has control over. Or at least, a great deal of access to. And you get sort of the impression as the meeting is happening that Gina is pushing to try to make some kind of a deal happen, and you get the impression that that Olympia is trying to just it's actually a little hard to tell what she's trying to do, but seems to be very much about the details about specific things that are right now just theoretical, that she kind of wants to make sure that certain traditional lines or things that do well are not cast aside. What sort of approach do you take in a meeting like this?
I think Manny goes in for the being very gentle and sort of listening approach, like that very like pensive and thoughtful and considering, but I think eventually, like, she knows how much this means to Gina, so I think she may just, if there's anything that we don't already know that you would like us to get in writing, that's fine. I think that this is going to be an extremely mutually beneficial partnership, Miss Fortunato, and this store has been here for a century, probably more. Giuseppe, God rest him, was a very, very diligent, hardworking man who made. We wouldn't be here if we weren't truly good at what we did. I think she's gonna a little bit try to persuade to her sort of businessy nature.
And you actually, when you're describing Giuseppe in that way, you see Olympia just sort of nodding, as though she knows what you're talking about, and she says, "I think it is. I think it is certain. I think there are certainly some things to take care of, but of course, if we are to put these things in place. There are a few things, as we said. I have sort of an agenda for things on social media that perhaps you may want to look at. But provided with some of the newer things that it is in keeping with what, hopefully with what it is that Giuseppe would have wanted, and she sort of looks directly at you when she seems to. She hasn't taken off her sunglasses, but she looks at you. She's famous for never taking these things off. And she sort of looks at, sort of directly at you, and she says this, "Would that we could ask him."
Would that we could, but I have full faith in the two of us, Gina and myself. She just kind of pats her business partner's shoulder. We can do it, and if we have your word that you will go through with this, then you have ours that it'll go well.
Indeed. Well, I shall need to be getting back shortly. As she's sort of looking around and starting to gather things, and she looks over at Gina, and she says, "Oh, incidentally, what was the name of that distributor that you were working with on those purses that we talked about earlier?" And Gina's like, "Oh yes, I have it. I just have it. It must be in the other room. If you give me just a moment." She nods. Gina gets up and she walks out for a moment, and the two of you are alone in the room for a moment. Miss Fortunato will again put her hand up, sort of near the rim of her sunglasses, as she just sort of looks over at you. There are a few people I think perhaps we have in common. That
is all right.
Yeah, I think perhaps we should. Yes. I don't suppose you could deliver a message for me.
It could. Yeah, I could. Yeah. It could be done. I usually don't work as a courier, but I could certainly do it if there was perhaps a small itty bitty promise that you'll consider Gina's proposal. Nothing binding, but I'm trying to get a read on how you feel about it, and I know how much it means to her.
Ah. Well. She says, let us say that there have been times when I have been a little concerned about some things, certain things, and I think I could, if I could get this assurance that you can deliver and see through about this, then I will be less concerned about it. This is, by the way, for anyone who would like me to bring out the OOC club, she is going to attempt to, she's cashing in.
I was about to ask if she was cashing in.
Now you can refuse if you want, and there's a role involved with that.
But I think I want to see where she's
sure
what she's going for before I try to refuse.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because erasing a debt's not a bad thing.
No, not at all. By the way, as just a reminder, anyone, those of you who did the name facery with Olympia should have marked wild if you have not done that already, because that even if you fail the roll, you still get to mark it, and that helps you when you want to advance. Once you get all 4 of those filled up, of all 4 different factions, then you get an advancement.
She's in the wild.
So she says, she's sort of looking things over. There is many concerns of late, and I just would prefer to have one less, if at all possible. You, she says, you, I believe, are acquainted with that delightful fellow Jerry Thatcher.
Yes, we know each other. We do.
Now, there is, it is in fact not directly for him, but it is someone that he knows and can get to. If you would have him, the important thing is to just ask to keep an eye on Nunzio.
I will pass that on to Jerry then. I can accept that as a term of keeping my business partner in the positive sphere.
Excellent. And she slowly stands up, gathering her. There's a thing that she wears around her as a thing. It's not quite a stole. It's hard to really describe it, really. In these limited 3-dimensional terms.
Is it possible to roll figure someone out before she leaves? Like,
it
subtly?
Is possible. It
like,
is certainly
I've
possible.
been in a meeting with her for a little while. I want to see how this is.
Go right ahead.
I got an 8.
Okay.
So a little bit okay.
All
It's
right.
better than the last roll.
So, on a 7 to 9, they hold 1 on you as well. You get so you got a hit. So you get 2 questions. You actually get a 3rd question because, as it happens, you're in the same faction, the same circle.
Yes, we are.
And so, which I believe actually, yes. Well, no, there's so you actually do get 3 questions. You can ask to attempt.
Well, I think first and foremost is what is she hoping to get from Nunzio? Like, who is this guy?
It's a sort of security, really. It's a sort of Safety. Maintenance of safety. Which, as you're sort of in this sort of small talk thing, she's sort of expressing this by, you're sort of getting the idea that when she mentions Nunzio, she actually mentions, you pick up a hint of concern. But it's like this is someone, and it's weird, it's like a slightly deeper thing. This is someone this person Nunzio, the way she said the name, it's somebody she actually has some sort of deep and abiding care for. You think.
That makes sense. Well, that's for me. So I guess this is sort of adapting. I was just in her debt. How do I get her into mine then? I mostly am looking for her to, if she would just pick up the promise, the make a promise with a fae. How do I get her to do that? Essentially, that's the debt I'm looking for.
Okay. Something that you kind of are realizing about her, and that this is, do you need a second? Are we good? Are we okay?
No, I heard the mail drop, so I was
okay.
like confused for a
No
second.
worries.
We're good.
Oh, no worries.
We're good.
Something that you sort of have realized about her, but now that you're having, like, this is probably one of the first this is the longest conversation you've ever had with her. And so the, something that you've suspected, you think, for quite a while, and you're sort of more realizing is that she is exceptionally careful, as to how she not only presents everything, but as to how she, as to whom she is going. You get the idea she'd be exceptionally careful to whom she would promise anything. So to actually get her to make a promise to you, first of all, you get the impression it depends on what the promise is. But you think that anything that you think would allow her, she seems to have a very carefully cultivated world going on. And you think that this would be that in order to make a promise to you, you would have to offer her something that will ensure that carefully cultivated world continues spinning.
Yeah. I assume this message will help me on that path. And oh boy, I do get a third one. I guess, what is she worried might happen?
So when she talked about the many things that are going, sort of, there's a lot of things going on, a lot of pressures. Let's see. You feel like, and I think that in part, this might need to be, we will need to include a bit of roleplay in this. I'm going to give you a trigger to hit on here for her, or a just sort of a key to hit on here for her in the thing that you say to her next. That you can, then I'll let you decide how you want to invoke that, but you notice this is perhaps a button you can press in asking this question, and this will help me figure out how to formulate the answer to your question. This button you can press is the idea that things from things from the circles of those who did not originate on this world. You think. There needs to be something involved with some sort of, perhaps, maybe not a demonstration of knowledge of it, but something that involves sort of them and the security of this world. So
if I offer some kind of like, yeah, we're on the level, like I'm on the level, she'll probably.
She might. Well, yeah. You're going to get the answer to your question, but I need to figure out how it comes out. So, what do you ask her or say to her that might give you an idea as to what she's worried might happen?
I mean, she's of the fellow wild faction. I think I'm going to just gently like adjust the jacket I'm wearing so that the sort of rose of the spring court is there, and I'm going to, given that like it's supposed to bloom in spring regardless, but I have a little bit of like, you can use a little magic to like flash it so that people know that you're one of them. I think I'm just going to like subtly adjust the jacket so the lapel pin is like very obvious and have it sort of flash a little to just be like, yeah, you're good. Like, I figured you're in on it, but like I don't know where she stands, so it's just like, this is very subtle fairy magic. It's nothing.
You see that as she sort of stands up, and you do that, and she stops for a second. And again, it's not like she's it's very subtle. When she just sort of stops moving for a second and is standing there almost like she's completely stock still for a second. Like someone hit the pause button on the video of her for just a second. She will say, and there are a few things that are hopefully not going to be directly your friend's concerns, but there are those who have been here for a while or those who have had an interest in this place for a while and when she says this place, you get the distinct impression she's not talking about the shop. That may be considering an unfortunate change of the landscape.
That would be unfortunate.
Yeah. And she just sort of will, she looks up at nothing in this room, something perhaps in this building, and she says, do give the old man my regards, would you? This is very much for his benefit as well.
I'll be sure to. I'm actually a little surprised he hasn't popped his head through. This would be about the time he would try. So I'll be sure to send your regards.
And she has a question. And as she's preparing to head out, she sort of is going to she's going to, in character, what she will ask is well, let me say the out of character question first. What's your character hoping to get from this from the city of Rome, and what she will ask as she is, putting on her mink-esque, and finally getting everything, the accoutrements together, is hey, can I look forward to seeing you around more frequently? Is there seems to be you seem to like it here.
I will be here as long as I am allowed to be. And I'm hoping that I get to stay here without having to go back to court and just be a person. I want one lifetime. That is... Manny's not shy about admitting she just wants a lifetime. So, I will be here.
That's interesting. Okay, and so if she gleans that from the subtext... oh, man. Okay.
Actually, I think the way that Manny would probably say it
So-
is, I will be here as long as I'm allowed, and as long as my friends don't have any problems.
Yeah.
Although they have a lot of problems, don't they?
And you think that she is picking up on the subtext of the one lifetime thing, and so she kind of will stop for a second, and she was sort of lean forward, and she will kind of reach out her hand, as though to take yours in a somewhat comforting manner. Do you let her touch? Do you let her?
Yeah.
Touch your hand? Okay.
Yeah.
She feels it's her grasp is a little cold. It's still, but it feels almost a little bit slick. But it's not like there's any. It's not a huge obvious thing, right? It could just be, older person's grasp type thing. Sometimes happens. But she says, "If I may offer just if you care to listen to a little advice from a foolish old woman, do not lose yourself in your pursuit for normality. It is, or for a simple life. It is a search that may never end and can easily go very wrong. Especially if you entrust this search to the wrong people. Very wrong."
I will keep that in mind.
And you think you get the sense that perhaps she doesn't entirely believe you, but when you say that, but she's like,
That she doesn't. Manny doesn't even believe herself when she
Yeah,
says
she
it, so
says-
it's fine.
"Do take care, Emanuela." And she gets up, and Gina comes back into the room, and with one of the handbags, and she says, "Found it! I've got it!" And that's when I'm going to for a little bit. I'm going to cut briefly. Over. Let's see. I want to get a sense. We don't have much time at this point. I just want to get a sense of a couple of things before we wind into our final bit here for this session. I want to get a sense from Mallory What? How is the great costume hunt going? What are you doing today? Actually, I think you're muted.
There we go. She, I think, is doing her best. She's probably wasted more time than she probably should, like backtracking and forget where the hell she drove that car last night. Where it could have fallen off, it could have been anywhere, and I think she's gotten desperate. Like it's been hours, and I think she has started to bug her friends now. Like I think she is aggressively texting. I think both Kai and Manny. It's like I need help.
Excellent.
Are you in the shop? Are you in?
So who's going to notice the text first?
I'll take it. I say Kai probably notices it first, but when Manny sees it, it's just like, oh. Uh-oh.
It's all caps. Also,
Kai is just like, I don't know what you. Kai probably, I don't respond because it's just like I don't know what to do with the missing suit. Sorry? Question mark with the pants emoji.
she's like, I think she does in all caps. I need you to do the card thing. I need you to do the thing, and it has like the card emojis on it, and it's like, please.
I think the first text you get from Manny is, what are the pictures? I don't understand the pictures. You need the card picture.
Emojis.
Is this a group text between the three of you?
I think it might be also the fact that maybe this is separate, but I think in her like hurry, she is maybe cross texting people.
I think there's just going to be a Mallory, period. What did you do? Period. Are you okay? Period. Because she doesn't know how to use the keyboard right. So
All caps, someone stole the suits.
There's like typing, delete, typing. Oh, fucking no.
She's gonna be like, yeah, someone ambushed me and took the suit. I need help. This is not what happened, though. Obviously, she just lost these.
It's probably good to tell Manny you lost them, or tell Manny they were taken and not that you lost them, because that's a promise to the Fae that you just broke.
Yeah. She doesn't realize what's happening with that part. She only knows that her demon's mad. 24 hours.
Oh boy.
I think, and then you get like after if there's a bracket, like what did they look like? Just tell me what they look like.
And I think Manny will be like, I can't really. Can I meet you? I think she just says, "Can I meet you somewhere?" Question mark.
And then what's Kai's?
Kai is very confused because Serena is on her way for reasons Kai isn't entirely sure of. There's a protest happening somewhere that is going on, and now there is a discussion about missing pants. And this is one of the... Kai has had a series of strange days. This is not breaking that streak between phone call and this. So you just get like a just question mark. Like, what? You want me to locate the suits?
I'll be, and then you get, okay, I'll be over. I have to make one more stop, but this afternoon, a few hours, I don't know.
Again, a quick catch of the calendar. There was a cancellation, so there's time this afternoon that was not there before. So just thumbs up.
Cool. I'll tell you when I leave.
Okay. Good luck? Question mark. More pants emojis.
Thumbs up.
Nice. Something that I want to it is only fair. I love this, by the way. I should also mention, just so you'll know that you have this in your arsenal, should you choose to use it. There is a faction move called Hit the Streets, which is the idea is that if there's someone you want to go looking for that might be able to help you with this, I mean, right now this is fine, but if you decide that okay, I need some kind of outside help, you can hit the streets to try to find someone to help you with something. And so that's just something you have as an option should you want to do it at some point.
Yeah, this might be after this, just because she has no idea. It's like,
Sure.
I need suits. They're devil suits. I don't know what they look like. That is not going to be super helpful to anybody.
A random suit lately.
Have any cool suits gone missing? That's not going to be...
Yeah.
Hey, geeks and gamers, if you've lost some suits lately, head to this.
I will also tell Manny that you would know. Obviously, this is not a thing you're supposed to talk about, but the thread is thread that originates in hell. Some of it, not all of it, but there was some hell thread. And
I'm imagining like pick stitching along it, so that way like it still looks like a suit, it still wears like a suit, but it's like the details are all made of this thread.
And then there was thread that came from somewhere else that you were provided the materials by by Mr. Sharp. He got them to you, but would not communicate about what they are. But it was another type of thread. There was something interesting about it. The thread. There was also the hell thread was also interesting. But he did not specify the origin of this second type of thread that you were to weave into it. And actually, my question is, I have two more questions now that I've suddenly thought of this. Did you use the thread that the mystery thread that he sent you?
Okay. Oh yeah, it was requested. It was used. He paid a lot of money.
Okay.
I was not gonna say. I have no interest in qualming with the demon. I have seen what happens when you qualm with the demon. I am not about that life. Yeah. So I'm gonna do what he says. He's never been a problem to me. I know he's kind of a pain to Mallory, but he's never been a problem to me. So I'm not gonna make a problem. I do imagine that both threads is just like, this feels wrong and weird and I don't like it.
Yeah. It was a little strange. There was a strange feeling in doing it, but you got it to work. It wasn't a problem per se. Did you now he sent you what would be probably the exact amount you needed, because he tends to do that. But did you try to keep any?
I did. Especially not the hell one necessarily, because I feel like if I asked around enough, like you can find hell thread.
You can find hell thread. Yeah, it's not
it's the other one that I probably was instead of like making a point not to use like double thread on it, so I could have just a little left just in case. But there's probably not enough, like like having enough for repairs, but not enough for like you could like do this whole thing
enough
over.
To like that you could wind a little bit around one of those sort of little one of those little spools that you have in your emergency kit.
Yeah.
That you use when you need to sew a button back on, that kind of deal. Yeah. So you have some of this. It is kind of looks different depending on how you look at it. Sometimes it looks a little golden. Sometimes it looks a little shiny, and then sometimes it just looks like regular thread. Sometimes it just looks like it might be a black thread. Sometimes it's hard to tell that it's there at all. But it's you haven't figured out what kind of thread it is yet.
One day.
Perhaps one day. One day, perhaps. So, Mallory, is there anything else you want to do as before you end up meeting with any of these folks?
No. We'll see how that plays out. But
okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm gonna swing back again before we leave. I want to swing back to Kai. I think that did you arrange to meet somewhere with Serena, or was there?
I think Serena was just coming to the cathedral.
Okay. So yeah, Serena, you're going to arrive at the cathedral. It's basically sort of a little rundown, but it's on the outskirts and of Old Rome. There are, of course, since you're here, this is like one of the tourist centrals, basically. So you've got a lot of people roaming about, especially this time of day. Afternoon, it gets packed. The general rule is the earlier in the day you can get to a place, the more likely you are to be able to see a thing. But this is enough out of the way, this cathedral, because it's basically been taken over by a tech company on the upper levels. So it's not as big a deal. But is there anything you want to do before you head in, or you just head in?
Sorry, I just head in.
Okay. So you head down. And you see, as you come down into where Kai's place of work is, amongst the catacombs of this place. So a lot of it's empty. There aren't really any dead bodies that one can see in here per se, but it's a lot of sort of open space. There is.
So that was beautiful. There aren't really any dead bodies one can see.
You can still hear an echo of an ew every time she comes down here.
Ew, Patty.
There's like a little outside of. I'm sort of seeing that outside of the entrance to your where you sit and you do your work. There's like maybe a little table or a place for people to leave notes or what have you. And there's a cat sitting there. As you are that you're greeted by, and it's the white and gray. It's a white and gray cat, just sort of sitting there, sort of padding forward as you get closer.
Have you always had a cat, Kai? She just calls out as she approaches.
I mean, it's not really mine. It's just they come and go. You've been here before. There's just always cats.
Creepy.
As you're passing by, the cat sort of is like, it does that thing where it kind of gets up and it's trying to sort of nip it. You gonna pet the cat? Or?
Yeah, just a little just.
It doesn't bite.
Pet. Yeah.
So as Kai is saying, it doesn't bite. It actually does that thing where it sort of opens its mouth and licks forward and kind of nips you a little bit if you are, unless you're going to pull your hand away real fast before,
No, I think it would catch her off guard.
Okay. It nips you a little bit. You think there's possibility. It doesn't hurt much, but there's a possibility it looks like it might have drawn a little bit of blood. And it does that. And then sort of when you sort of jerk your hand up away, Serena and Kai, you see this as well. The cat immediately leaps down and scampers off into the catacombs.
The fuck, Kai? You said it didn't bite.
They don't. What'd you?
I just tried to pet it. You saw?
Yeah, that's weird. They normally don't. Yeah, no. Are you okay? Do you need a Band-Aid?
No.
You sure?
Fine. It'll stop. Anyway, I need you to look at the cards for me.
Okay.
I had a vision on the way here. I was trying to see what this protest was about, but I didn't get a vision about the protest at all. I got a vision about someone named Gia and saving the cats.
Kai, I need to tell you something.
Yeah.
As far as you're aware, because you've kind of seen other people use this name occasionally in the vicinity, sort of around the neighborhood, Gia is what they call that cat.
Oh. What did you say, Gia?
Yeah, Gia, and I heard a voice that was like, if you, what did it say, Jim? If you want to,
I'm trying to remember. It said that. Oh yeah. Okay. I think the part of it you're getting at is this is as the eyes of some people were blazing away at you.
gold,
The in gold in particular three missing followers, and Tom. It was it said something to the effect of that if you want them to and we can go back and check afterward, but it's something along the lines of if you want them to remain well and able to continue on their paths, that you must do something.
it was like
this.
Gia, right?
Yeah, and Gia, it's like Gia is leading the cats. They must be stopped.
Stopped or saved?
Stopped.
Stopped?
Yeah, I remember the cats.
Yeah.
Must be stopped.
And Dia is leading them. Okay.
So yeah, she's like, Serena like gives you this just like harebrained explanation in her way. Is like, I saw my, my followers went missing, and I saw them with golden eyes, and it said something about if you want them to remain alive and on their path, then we have to stop the cats, and Gia's leading them.
What? Hey, Jim, what color are Gia's eyes?
Gia's eyes are a kind of deep, almost kind of it's sort of a deep greenish gray, with these very it's a cat, so very very black dark pupils, that looks that are kind of maybe a tiny bit milky, but they're very very dark onyx-like pupils.
But they're not golden.
It was somebody with golden eyes was the one who told you about stop the cats.
I heard a voice that was familiar to me that told me. I saw my followers with golden eyes.
Okay, all your followers had golden eyes?
Yeah, the ones that were missing had golden eyes.
Speaking of cats, if anybody hears fighting cat sound effects in the background, that's a freebie thrown in by my cats. So
Foley work today is being provided by
the audio work is provided by Hera and Odo. So yeah, that's what's going on.
I need you to check the cards, Kai.
Okay.
Serena's just like leaning forward on your table, like getting uncomfortably closer to you.
Oh, okay. Kai pulls out they've got the decks that they read for other people with, and then they always have like at least two more with them for just idle readings or things like this that they don't have the customer client vibe aura to them. They've got the friend or more personal one, and I don't know what tarot or oracle cards would correspond with the cats must be stopped, but I would imagine Kai pulls something relevant to this particular situation, and Jim doesn't need to know either, but
Do you have a? So do you have a thing?
Do I have a thing? I have the.
You could do the foretelling move now, and you could say something that's going to happen, but that's in the session. Or you could do let it out. That's sort of an all-encompassing. This is your power. So if you want to do a tarot reading, you could do let it out, and then whatever you roll, Jim can say this is what happens.
I know how to play games. I'm gonna do let it out, and I also have conduit, which just says advanced let it out for all characters in my project, including myself. So
I think that's if you roll a 12, then that means that extra stuff happens.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did my character sheet go? There it is. Do I mark it as advanced when I roll it then?
Oh, if it gives you an option to, then go ahead, because you've advanced it right now, so it's currently advanced. So.
That's an 8.
Okay. All right. So you are letting it out, and
sorry, cats are.
Yeah, you on a hit choose one and mark corruption, so this is mechanically you can choose from take +1 forward on your next roll, extend your senses supernatural or otherwise, which I kind of feel like that might be what you're doing, frighten, intimidate, or impress your opposition, or take definite hold of something vulnerable or exposed. So it just sort of depends on how you want to interpret everything.
Extending the senses supernatural.
Okay.
Just because I want a better read on my particular problem is pushed to the side for right now. And especially with the name Gia and knowing that that's the cat that the neighborhood refers to that cat as, and that cat just bit my friend in more than a friend, the friendly kind of nipping that cats do.
Yeah, you have never seen Gia bite anybody.
No, not in that way. Certainly not drawing blood. Despite Serena's earlier proclamation that she didn't need a Band-Aid, Kai has a tiny little first aid kit out and is shoving Neosporin in Serena's direction and some Band-Aids. And will keep pulling cards until something makes sense or visions have, words have organized themselves or something clicks with recent nightmare memories, etc.
I think that as you are laying the cards out, trying to answer the question of what the hell's going on with the cats,
Cats were fine.
I think that there is a point where, and it's not necessarily even I think when Serena's sitting there, do you do that? Do you do the thing where you have Serena, because she's asking the question, you have her shuffle the cards?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Kai just keeps flipping them over until a picture emerges from that. But Serena's the one who shuffled.
So, well, it's a cliche, but I'm going with it. And I will. I haven't had time to look this up, so we'll figure it out. I think that the. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, perfect. So the last card is laid out to represent the future of this thing. And this is even before this. You're seeing the pattern starting to emerge in the different cards, just in the way that they hit the table, in the way that the sort of the different. There are things that are like not necessarily even letters, but sort of impressions you get, and the art on the card. As the cards sort of are connected out, it's sort of spelling out for you as you are looking over the whole thing that there is this thing that's slowly sort of coming forth. You're noting sort of a symmetry between some of the cards and the way that they provide sort of the images. If you sort of move them in a certain direction and you take a piece of one and a piece of another card, and it makes a different picture. As we kind of see these puzzle pieces assembling in your head. And you see it's like a shower of coins seem to be falling in these images you're seeing. Dark coins. And something opening. Like a door or a gate of some kind.
Normal.
And something along the lines of could be a cat in the background of one of the cards, and a few cats doing something, moving somewhere.
Okay.
And oh hey. Thank you for the subscription. And you see what look like over and over in some of these images. It's a pair of torches. Two torches, maybe three. Most often two. Sort of burning in the distance. And then as you lay the final card down, you see that it has just a tiny bit of Serena's blood on it from when she shuffled the cards. And the card as it comes down is death.
Yep.
And that, I think, is where we're going to end for the evening.
That's fine, Jim. That's fine.
Totally fine.
We love a good death tarot card.
Death usually means change. It's not the tower.
Yeah, it's not the tower. And it's not the devil.
Absolutely.
Not the Ten of Swords.
It's not Ten of Swords. The everything is fine, but it's not actually fine ever.
Think of it in Serena's terms. She's gonna see death and go, "Oh no!"
And scene.
It's like you have to explain. That's not.
And it's like you cut to Kai trying to explain what the death card is, but like the credits roll.
Yeah.
Serena's card text everyone, "I'm gonna die."
Alexis, please. I just really want to do the Moira roast.
The Moira accent.
Alexis, please.
Yeah.
Don't have to be so dramatic.
That was so good.
That really was really good.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to go around now and do our outros. So you can feel free to plug anything you like, tell folks where they can find you, and any final thoughts you had about this session, or any or favorite moments, or what have you. And we shall start, as we go in the reverse order, we shall start with Sara.
Hi everybody. I am Sara. I play Kai, the Oracle, who is having a week of sorts, a month really. Not a good one, and pulling the death card with their friend's blood on it really was a key moment. I personally really enjoyed the moment of Serena calling Kai and saying, "Hey, are you busy?" Kai basically saying yes, and Serena saying, "Okay, I'm coming over anyway." That was a beautiful establishing moment, I think, for both of them, because Kai kind of knew that was coming. But I'm really excited for where this is going to go. I'm sure nothing that came up in this session is going to be a problem or dangerous or of concern to anybody. Everything seemed super normal and chill and fine and okay. So I'm sure that's going to continue. But you can find me on Twitter at Sara of Swords, and pretty much, actually, no, entirely, you can find me here right now. I have nothing else going on, so I will see y'all next week.
Cool. Excellent.
I'm also now going to go break up the cat fight that's happening, so I will be right back
Wonderful.
for final things, but I'm going to fix that first.
Yes, must save the Foley team. It's important.
Yes.
All right, then let's head over to Alyssa.
Hello. I will start with the boring stuff, which is the plugging. So hi, I'm Alyssa, or Xander Slamilton on Twitter, on Twitch. Sometimes you see me lurking. Sometimes I do things. Not really. You can also find me on Instagram at Xander in the Wild. Sometimes I post about my loot. Sometimes I just do really weird comics and boring things. Not an exciting person. I try anyway. Other than here, you can find me Sunday nights on Praxagoria Thesmophoria's channel for Romance of the Blue Rose, in which I play Cecilia Valent, the healer who accidentally on purpose did a sorcery and almost lost all her friends, and we just had a fantastic bottle episode in which everybody got emotional and played Truth or Drink. It was great. As for favorite things here, it is impossible to pick anything. All of these were just great. I think just the description of Mallory's place of living just brought me back to college and people I knew in college, how they lived. And it's like, yes, the frat house experience, but no one was in a frat. It's just chef's kiss.
Excellent. All right, let's head over to Shauna.
Hey, I'm Shauna Flying Cirrus on Twitter and Instagram, every place else where I have my art. And you can catch me next, actually, on tomorrow on Fellow Black Cats. It's a Hex Crawl. It's a spy game where I get to play a little bit of I use my Hitman video game knowledge to hopefully break someone out of jail without an explosion. So that should be interesting. And a little bit later at 9 p.m. on twitch.tv.saber, it is Embers in the Ashes, our Blades in the Dark game, where I get to be the kind of like conniving mastermind person for a change for that one. And on Saturdays on Level Up Dice, it's Scion, Birth of New Gods, where I get to play a grumpy little kitsune godling who's just a bit of a jerk. She didn't get much sleep last time because of a bad car trip. But God, this was so much fun. I love seeing everybody's kind of characters that in the wild and just see how they're starting to interact with each other, and it's so much fun. But I did like the Manny trying to like bond over Instagram. It's like the gram was it that made me laugh so much.
The gram. One day I shall start using my Instagram account again. I'm not sure how soon, but I'll try and use it someday. I'm barely getting into TikTok. It's very difficult. When do you schedule time in the day? Okay. But enough about that. Let us head over to Katy.
Hey, I'm Katy. You can find me on the internet at KatyFace. I'm also the social media manager for Off the Table, off_the table on Twitter and Twitch. We're between seasons right now. We're going to start having some GM signups and player signups soon. But what I'm really excited about is that this Friday is the premiere of our actual play Fear Itself podcast, Missing Annie Lee, that we've co-produced with Salty Sweet Games. It's 2 arcs, 6 characters, 2 different GMs. It is a lot of work, and we are so proud of it, and we're so ready to release it. So I hope that everyone listens to it and enjoys it. Another thing that I'll announce, I posted about it on my Twitter, but starting in a few weeks, if you're interested in playing a Call of Cthulhu game, I'm a professional GM, and I am offering spots in a Call of Cthulhu game. Would be after this game, 7:30 CST, 7:30 with some wiggle room CST on Tuesday nights. But would really love to have anyone along for the ride. It's set in the Dust Bowl era, and big Eldritch creatures lurking in these walls of dust. It's been an idea on my brain forever. But if you're interested in that, I'll be promoting it for a couple more weeks, but you can go to my Twitter and find it. But yeah, this was great. I had so much fun. I really enjoyed all of the twists and turns, and I really I also really enjoyed Mallory's living state. Like, just there was Sara said it in chat, there was this one line of description that like so much mess for one person, or like
not be like something about like this mess cannot possibly be the result of one person or something.
Yeah, it was just the most beautiful description, and it was so good, and I loved it.
Awesome. If I were to call out a moment, which sort of my my looking at the evening, I think I'm just going to call out the bread. I've enjoyed all the bread. It's I consume most of my bread vicariously these days, so
I will get some for next week. I will get the prop.
I just want to imagine Alyssa just eating a baguette the whole episode. Just
See, here's the thing. Like, I'm gonna say yes, and then I'm gonna be like, oh no, I must commit to this bit, and I will, because that's what I do lately. So I guess I gotta get a baguette.
Darn.
Sometimes you just have to have a baguette. That's how it works. Excellent. Well, as for me, once again, I'm Jim. You can find me at OtherDoc on Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below to my various things. And let's see what's happening. So I'll go ahead and plug this one more time as a thing that's happening. I'm on a podcast that's released episodes again recently. It's an actual play podcast called Tabletop Garden. We were playing Big Eyes Small Mouth in a post-apocalyptic setting where we were all playing, running around in massive, ridiculous vehicles. So folks want to check that out. That's at tabletop.garden. And as far as other stuff that I'm doing, it's still fairly light activity right now, but on some Sundays on this channel we have our Dark Matter campaign, Ghosts of Salt Maw, and we're on the final arc. It's we're taking our time getting there. We've had the last couple of weeks some real life stuff going on that we haven't been able to do it, but hopefully we will be back with that soon. And I'm looking forward to jumping back into that as well. And for now, that's it. And I am very much looking forward to continuing this tale and seeing where it goes. But let's see. When we hit the end card, I'm going to send a raid over to... I have not raided... let's see. Unmade Gaming has got their Void show going on. That I know a few folks in, so we'll go ahead and say hi to them. If you're so inclined, feel free to hang on and say hi to them with us. That again will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Farewell.
Bye.